Right, welcome back to the Two Yachts for a Saint podcast. Myself, Gaz, Carl, and Jordan. Straight into the news round with Carl if you want.
Yeah, good morning, afternoon, and good evening to wherever you're listening. Plenty of news round to discuss and Super League news. So we'll start off with the news that Hull KR assistant coach Sean Kenny Dowell is to leave the club due to personal reasons. I mean, me more so than you guys will know what he's brought to Rovers over the last 4 or 5 years he's been there. For people who don't know how good he's been for Rovers, I mean, he came over. He wasn't particularly great in his first season. He was sort of finding his feet as a player, and then in the second season, he was named captain. And then from that point, he never looked back. He absolutely ploughed us forward on the field and off the field. He had a massive role in signing Peter Hiku, and obviously recently Jared Hargreaves, and them players of that calibre. So it will be a massive loss for Rovers. I'm sure you boys have seen him throughout his career playing for the Roosters, etc. I mean, he was a champion player as a player, obviously, Gaz, and he's done a great job in terms of assistant coach for Rovers.
Yeah, if I remember right, we were linked with him as well before he put pen to paper with KR. But yeah, he's one of the main facts in OKR being completely turned around as a club, as a player, and then obviously coaching as well. He'd done a lot with Willie Peters. Yeah, it'll be a big miss, but I'm sure you've got some capable hands coming in to replace him.
Yeah, so on his replacement, OKR they've announced Luke Gale as his replacement. Obviously, he was coaching at Wakefield last season. This opportunity's come up for him. I mean, talk about a person who could manage a game. I believe he was man of steel not so long ago in his playing career. Uh, he's certainly going to bring something to Rovers' attack. I mean, I'd imagine he'll be working closely with the likes of Mikey Lewis and Tyrone May. And I reckon their game management will go up another 10% being coached by Luke. I mean, Luke Gale was at the Rhinos, Jordan, wasn't he? You'll know a bit about him. What can you tell us about him when he was at Rhinos?
Yeah, it was one of those signings, wasn't it, that we had when we were going through a transitional period. He slotted in there, didn't he, at 7 when we had all this palaver with Louis, uh, number 6 at Louis, and swapping around with Taloa Heyer and finding his spot there for Leeds. Obviously, he won as a Challenge Cup final against Salford, which one drop goal. So I was pleased that, I was happy for him, considering he's kind of started at Leeds, didn't he? And he's kind of done how he described it. He kind of done the long way around. Um,
From full circle.
yeah, full circle. Yeah, but that obviously he left in because it was a big signing when we had him, and I did want him to carry on a little bit and see his career out. I suppose at Leeds would have been nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely brings a lot to Rovers. He's working, like I say, working closely for your spine next year. So I mean, he'll definitely, considering everything he did last year, he's not going to be able to change much, I suppose, because everything worked right, didn't it? But he's working with Mikey, and suppose he'll get, your halfbacks working hard, and
Yeah.
he's only going to improve you, isn't he? So.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously he's a young coach, but he does bring a lot of experience in them positions, and his playing career tells you that he'll be a good asset. I won't say it's a concern. I mean, I think you asked me last week on the pod, didn't you? That you know, did Rovers need to change anything in terms of playing squad? I said to you, it was little tweaks, wasn't it? I mean, they've definitely changed a lot in terms of the coaches, so it'll be interesting to see how these new coaches come in and set their roles over from the likes of Danny Ward and Sean Kenny Dowell.
I think
So
I think
all
I
will
think
be
I think what it's like really weird is obviously over the course of like a week, you've appointed Ian Watson and Luke Gale, so it's like, do you know what I mean? They are big changes, and really, when you think about it, good changes. Don't get me wrong, but big changes definitely.
Yeah, I'd imagine, Gaz. It'll sort of keep the players on the toes as well, because these assistant coaches who we've just named, they'll come in with their own ideas. What they will, they'll want them to do certain things. I mean, it just keeps everybody on the toes and everybody fresh with some new coaching assistant, basically.
Yeah, and especially with Luke Gale as well. If you look back to his, I think it was 2017 season, when he got cast to the grand final, and the way he showed composure in I think it was a semi-final against us, kicking the Aussie. I'll never forgive Ryan Morgan for that stupid tackle, but the way he slapped the penalty and then the drop goal, it's like, well, fair enough, there you go, well done. So I think that
Yeah.
could be like the catalyst that season for him to go, this is what we do.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely add something to the. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Gaz. Was he man of steel that year?
I believe he was, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, because I
So
put
he
some money
certainly
on.
brings experience.
Of course you did.
I put 200 quid.
Did you share the winnings with him? That's what paid for his air transplant.
I think it
Yeah,
was shot
that's it.
that.
That's it. All bets on Luke Galefield. Then moving forward, Jordan.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
on to the next piece of news. Bradford again are doing bits, aren't they? I mean, this one shocked me, to be fair. It's probably the best signing they've made so far. Bradford Bulls, they're delighted to announce the signing of powerhouse forward Ryan Sutton on a 1-year deal. I mean, he's been over in Australia in the NRL, so obviously for them to pick him up, from the sort of highlights of the NRL to Odsal, the mud bath, which is Odsal. I mean, it's going to be some bit of a culture shock for him, I'd imagine, Gaz, but we know he's a good forward. The 1-year deal tells me that he's probably going to see how it goes, because he has got an addition of a second year if he wants it. I mean, is he somebody to have in your squad, Gaz?
Um, Potentially, yeah. I mean, he's come through arguably the best academy in the country with Wigan. Uh, Went over to Australia, held his own, in my opinion. They've done well to get him over, unless he weren't getting offered anything over there. But yeah, I think he'll push him forward a bit anyway.
Certainly, he's certain that adds a bit of size and dynamic to their squad. I mean, we say pretty much most weeks, don't we, with these new teams in terms of Bradford and York and Toulouse, and they need to be signing as many as they can possible to compete on a regular basis. And I think he ticks a massive box for them. Yeah, so that's Bradford. Next piece of news: Huddersfield, they re-sign halfback Ollie Russell on a 1-year deal. I think not last season gone, but season before he was at Huddersfield, and then he went to Wakey for a bit, and it looks like he's going back over the 62 towards Huddersfield. I mean, Jordan is probably down in the pecking order a little bit in that Huddersfield squad with Adam Clune and them type of guys there, but it ticks a box for them. Do you expect Huddersfield to be a lot better than there was last season?
I don't know, I don't. I probably expect him to probably be same position. They're that team for me where they're not. I don't know. It's without sounding like disrespectful to them. No one's going there. No one wants to sign there. Um, it's not even always about signing big names, but they just didn't. They ain't like a gel there, is there? They ain't like a. They're just not going on. That's making them exciting. Like as a fan, it must be quite boring as a fan because there's no getting at. There's no player really there. Apart from is it Flanagan?
George Flanagan, yeah.
Yeah, apart from him, there's no one really in team that's getting you out your seat.
No, Adam Swift can still do it a little bit.
Who's that?
If he's Adam Swift.
Yeah, Adam Swift. Yeah. It's just they're a bit all over, aren't they? And I feel like they need to build a little bit and get some momentum, like get some bodies in, but get the gel going with team where you get the regular sort of lineup and getting your halfback sorted. Like say Adam Swift's been there for a few years now, and do you know what I mean? He's fine where he is, but they need to kind of build on that and kind of get, you know what I mean, get someone in there that can kind of help him out, score some tries, and They're just like I said, they're a bit yo-yo at the moment for me.
Yeah. I'd have said, Gaz, barring the newly promoted sides, I would say Huddersfield and possibly Castleford have done a bit of business in the last month or so, aren't they? I mean, they're probably one of the teams they're probably lacking behind the rest of the pack that are initially in Super League this year. I mean, there's probably a little bit of work left for them to do to get in and around the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's a lot to do with like a club in general as well. I mean, I think they got the right idea moving stadiums because you look at that on TV. There's about 10 Huddersfield fans there at home. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good, but put them in a smaller stadium, make it look like there's more people, makes it a lot more attractive. But in terms of the squad, I mean, there are some decent players there. Like Jordan said, there's no glue holding them together. It's almost like 13 fellas going out for a run around on a Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, just what I'd say as well, Cal, is like I don't know what you guys think of this, but I've been obviously keeping tabs on it as it obviously like weeks go by and stuff. And I don't understand this. Like, we've brought these 14 teams in now, right? Or we brought in these three teams in. And like say we were just talking then about Huddersfield, Castleford. Why aren't they being able to sign these players? Like Bradford signing Sutton. Like, what's going on with this salary cap? Because why all of a sudden a Bradford overnight got all this money? Like, why is Castleford not signing Sutton? Why is Huddersfield, who were already a Super League team, why are they not able to improve with big players? Why are all of a sudden Bradford signing in-star players and going straight in? It's a bit of a confusing one.
Don't you get a bit of a dropsy if you get promoted or something like that, like one way or another?
I don't know what it's like with this. Obviously, we're in a bit of a thing that's not really happened before, aren't we? But
Yeah.
it's like I expect probably Toulouse to be bottom at league by the end of the year. I'd definitely say they're going to be 14th. They haven't signed anyone, have they, apart from that loan move, as far as I
Yeah.
know. They just, when you look at Huddersfield, Castleford, they know they need to have a big season next year. They have to, because, they don't want to stay where they are. And you look at it, it's like, I see York doing pretty well, to be honest. I think
Yeah, I
York
can see York having a good crack at it.
as I say, but yet again, where's all this money come from? You know what I mean? York don't sign Benison, do they? If they're in Championship, so it's one of those for me. I'm just really, really confused with how it's all going about.
I think like with York, I mean, you got Clinton Goodchild there. He's got deep pockets. You know what I mean? They've got the stadium belongs to them. There's no debt involved there. All the money can go into the team.
It's just for me though. It's like when I think you were saying it, Kat, like weeks and weeks ago when we were first talking about it, and you were saying that the teams we've got in at the moment, you don't see them teams coming in doing any different than the other ones, which I understand, and that's my point here. It's like, is it awful to see maybe York and Toulouse and Bradford doing better than Castle and Huddersfield? Is it a bit disrespectful to league in a sense of like they've got all this money and buying all these decent players, and they're probably going to jump Cass and Huddersfield, and it's almost like a bit weird, really, when you think about it.
I don't think it's disrespectful
Yeah,
to the league. I think it's a case of Casper and Huddersfield having to do better,
Mm.
like behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm fully on board with Bradford, because I've been watching interviews with Haggerty, and he's been saying about they've got a short turnaround, they've got to sign these players, blah blah. And I get that, and it is almost like a race where they've got to get a decent team enough to compete and get on. But for me, it's where all these funds are coming from. Like all of a sudden, if you look at the Bradford team that would have signed, it's almost like they've signed a complete new team, and it's like where's Cass, where's Huddersfield doing this? Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a weird one for me.
I mean, there's probably multiple reasons why them teams are in what they are and the others aren't. I mean, a lot of them players within them newly promoted teams as well. I mean, there'll be some certain factors, like some of them players were probably on part-time contracts last year.
Yeah,
So that's just probably one small thing that, builds a collective sort of overall. So there's probably lots of things that we discuss as supporters and fans that we probably don't know the half of it. So I'm pretty sure there's good reasons behind, the things they're doing, the decisions they're making. Next piece of news, then, Gaz. St. Helens confirmed signing of Jackson Hastings on a 1-year deal. I mean, where does that sort of come out the blue? I mean, he's a hell of a signing, isn't he? I mean, if he does his 1 year and you can commit him again to another couple of years, you're probably going to get some good seasons out of him, and he's probably the direction you need moving forward for the Avs.
Yeah, they've it was an RKO out of nowhere there with that one. Didn't see that coming, but I'm made up with it. I've seen some fans having concerns about George Whitby, but as talented as the kid is, he's still very raw, and he needs to shadow, so he needs that guidance. And there's not many people better than Jackson Hastings to do that for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, he's a grand final sort of participant, Man of Steel, etc. Yeah, he represented England, didn't he? Through somebody in his family having a budgie that's English, so he's definitely got the experience. He'll definitely be
the irony of that, the budgies are actually native to Australia.
Yeah, but at least there's a tie in there. As long as there's a tie, that's it. He'll play for England again, I'm sure. It's a hell of a signing. I mean, I might be getting a bit excited on your behalf here, but it's probably the signing of the pre-season so far in terms of players, in my opinion. I mean, Jordan, he's going to guard Saints around the field. I mean, like I said to you earlier, is he one you'd have in your squad?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think I was just going to say anyway before you went on to the next point. I was going to say that's basically for me as a neutral. Overnight, Saints have got the dominating middle pitch straight away. Like, starting next season, like Gaz will say, there's bodies coming in, etc. But the one thing they struggled with last year was direction in spine. They didn't really have a spine, really, did they?
I don't think the same spine plays together more than 3 games.
Yeah. It will poor for him. It will poor for him in the normal stage. You can, appreciate watching. So for me, he's 29-year-old. He's probably in his prime now. Probably a better time to get him. I think, I 100% feel like he'll do your direction. I don't feel like you need to sign anyone major now to partner him potentially. I think Sailor might be all right with him. Because what will happen is, I think Hastings will take charge of the kicking sort of scenario, and then you'll get Sailor just doing the running a ball, which is what you want. So he probably won't feel like he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, so he'll end up doing the running game, which then in theory, then I think Sailor will have a better season.
Yeah, and I think it's been a long time since we've had a very good kicking game from a number 7.
Yeah.
I think again Whitby, with the raw talent he's got, he will learn from him. He'll be around him in training all the time. I'm not concerned about him if he's not playing every week, because obviously you can't. He'll get his minutes, he'll get his chances, and he'll see to show what he's learning. And it's with Paul Rowley coming in, it's a clean slate. Everyone has to prove themselves. That's top to bottom. So I'm not concerned about that.
It's a Paul Rowley signing, though, isn't it, the Hastings?
Oh yeah, well he's worked with them before at Salford, hasn't he?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. That's what I was saying to you of a week when I said about getting Paul Rowley in, signing Super League stars, which obviously I know isn't NRL and he's come back over, but he was a Super League player. He's proved himself at top level in Super League. So for me, it's like that's a perfect signing for that. Coming back over here, working with Paul Rowley again. He knows he'll get the best out of him. He got him, he were coaching him year he got Man of Steel, so he knows how amazing he can be. What's better than playing for a top side like St. Helens? He's gonna get so much.
Hell, did you just refer to us as a top side then, Jordan?
Well, yeah, no.
I never thought I'd hear it.
Well, you are right.
I'm joking.
You are right.
Biggest thing for me with this signing, fellas, is, I mean, he's been over in NRL for a few years now after he departed from Salford. I mean, he had a bit of a rough time at the West Tigers. He's been getting bit part bit part game time for the Newcastle Knights. I mean, he's 29 years of age, and people might say I'm crazy for saying this, but he's got to prove himself again, as well as
Yeah.
everybody else at St Helens have to prove themselves again to this new coach. So I think Jackson Hastings will be as hungry as ever, and I'm sure St Helens as a club and all the supporters like yourself, guys, will reap the rewards of him coming over, organising the team.
Bouncing from club to club and all that. Well, he signed a year deal. What are you
Yeah.
bothered about? You know, if he's here for a year, he's here for a year. He's seen his deal out. End of.
And if Saints can get that type of time scale out of him, he'll only bode well for the future. So we'll pack that one up there. Next piece of news: they did the same thing last season in the Challenge Cup. Toulouse Olympique, they've declined the opportunity to enter the Challenge Cup again. I mean, it's not great now they're a Super League team doing that. I can only imagine that that'll be down to financial issues, guys, and coming across and playing the lesser teams and having to sort of pay for all that themselves. What's your take on that announcement?
I think it's very selfless of them, to be honest. I mean, they could be going for the glory, but go, well, do you know what? We're just going to focus on the league. It's going to be a nightmare for people to come over, to travel over to England every other week. And then people coming over here, it's like, well, why don't we just lessen the load on the players for a start and the fans and just focus on the league?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit crazy, really, isn't it? Because they've obviously been told they're going into Super League, and it's like, pardon me French, it's like sod it. We'll go Super League and Super League only. For me, I think they had to give a bit back to the supporters of the game and go ahead with that Challenge Cup. But obviously, they've decided not to. I mean, disappointing, Jordan. If you was a Toulouse Olympic supporter, would you want to get involved with the Challenge Cup?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think it's quite poor, if I'm being honest. I think, like I say, with them getting into Super League, um, this is part and parcel of it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's you're a French team in an English league. Catalans do the same thing. If you want to play with big boys, you've got to do it and of. Um,
Yeah, I do see
I think,
that side of it as well. Like,
yeah, I mean, like I say, fair enough. Yeah, I don't understand what probably there's no maliciousness in it. They will be doing it for probably financial reasons, but or maybe they haven't got a full strength squad maybe yet. Do you know what I mean? But that said, they wanted to come in Super League. For me, that all adds into it. When you think of the grounds and players, facilities, all that stuff, putting your hands up and going, yeah, I mean, Challenge Cup, that should be a given. Do you know what I mean? I think you telling them that you're not playing at Challenge Cup is a bit of a kick up backside, if I'm being honest. I think they should, as a rugby team, be in there and competing in there. So I think it's not great, I suppose, for fans. I think it is. I think it's quite disappointing because I know some people. I know your mate, Gaz, were quite happy with Toulouse being in Super League.
yeah,
A lot of neutrals, you know, it expands Toulouse as well as a team. You come over and you play a Challenge Cup tie against St Helens.
it's another
Or,
weekend out of this country as well, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Or Rovers. There might be some French fans in there that want to come over here and experience like almost like an FA Cup draw, isn't it, for football? It's, they might not, might not get opportunities to come over here and watch games in England. So, you're going to get a lot of French fans that are going to go to home games and not going to travel. Do you know what I mean? Which is what happens. But these going to be them fans that'll be disappointed. So for me, yeah, I think they should have competed.
Yeah, I mean,
It's going to divide opinion, though,
disappointing.
isn't it? It is going to divide opinion, that, but
Yeah.
it's up to them at the end of the day, innit?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. There's no point. There's no point crying over spilt milk, and there's no point worrying about something that we can't control. Unfortunately, so the next two pieces of news are both Leeds Rhinos orientated. The first one is Jordan. You'll be probably a bit gutted with this. It's been confirmed by the Perth Bears, but not Rhinos, I believe, just yet. Harry Newman, he's signed for the new NRL club, the Perth Bears, for 2027 season. So obviously he'll play his last year at Rhinos if this comes out official from Rhinos. I mean, you know my opinion, Harry Newman. He's a good player on the day. He's a bit of a needle in a haystack at times as well. I mean, obviously the Perth Bears and Mal Meninga see something in him. Will you be sad to see him go, mate?
Yeah, I will. I think in the next couple of seasons, I think there's going to be a bit of a rebuild again with Rhinos, especially in the important areas. You know, when you think of Newman going next season, Mako Sivo probably will be on his way as well because he's in 30s. He's not going to stay forever. And then you've got that option of what you're going to do with Riley Lum, Edgill. Are you going to move them into centres? Are you going to, Ryan Hall potentially as well? He'll be retiring at the end of next season. So, what I mean? You've got maybe two important spots there in your side. Potentially a weakened, big players leaving. So it's not disheartening me right now because that's for the season after. We've got 2026 to look forward to, and potentially, hopefully get to the grand final. That's obviously the aim. Really decent Chance Cup run. So it'd be interesting to see how it runs out, and finishes his last season. But yeah, 2027. That's season after. I'm not really too fussed. I think I'd be more gutted if he's gone now. Do you know what I mean? If he were gone now and we have that thing of having to rotate at the moment. But
do you know me, Jordan? I was thinking this earlier on. I think the Perth Bears have showed some massive confidence in this signing because, let's be honest, at times he's made a chocolate. Is Harry Newman, isn't he? I mean, it's a big risk for them. I know Harry's got to go over there and try and do his best in the NRL in 27, but it's probably a bigger risk for the Perth Bears than it is Harry Newman. That's all. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
it's a big shout for them to put confidence in him and bringing him over, knowing his injury record.
I think it's a weird one. Like I say, I'm going to get to that. I do think it's a weird one. It's more of an opportunity for Newman than it is for them, I would say. But I feel like he has to play. You know what I mean? It's like when Ryan Hall went over to Roosters. I know he had his injury issues, but I don't think he played for first team. And it's, for me, if Harry Newman's going over there, he needs to play for first team. And it's a big ask, is that? Do you know what I mean? Considering the quality, we were talking about in test series, we know how good Aussies are, from 1 to 13, even 1 to 18. The speed they've got on wings is ridiculous, centres, ridiculous, halfbacks. So for me, he's going over there. Is there going to be someone who's better than him? 100%. 100%. There's going to be probably a 19, 20-year-old Australian that's probably got pace to burn and has probably got skill like Darren Lockyer. And it's like, how does he get, in there? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those. So it's an hard one. I hope he does go over there and I hope he gets picked and I hope he plays week in, week out like Herbie Farnworth does and he gets in there and he plays, and then like I say it comes to England World Cup and he's in contention, isn't he, with a good season. So yeah, fingers crossed for him. Still a bit
thing is
weird.
with that as well. You've got Mal Meninga, arguably one of the greatest centres to ever play the game. Certainly made an impact in 6 months over here for us. If he says to you, I want you in my team, you go. He's just one of those players. And obviously, with him being a centre as well, he knows that position as well as anyone.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean when it's
doing something right.
When it's a new team being formed, and you go into NRL, it's like I was trying to say about Morgan Cannon. His last season at Leeds, he played outstanding. Obviously, that's what I'm hoping Newman will do for Leeds. He'll go out on a high because every single game he'll want to play because everyone's got eyes on him. All Australian fans will be looking, all right, that's a we're signing. They're gonna want to see the best out of him. So if he's injured all season, it's not going to be great for him. But for me, it's probably the best time for him to go with a new form team because it's he's getting in there before everyone else. Before next say 3 seasons, they're going to have a full strength squad. They're going to probably get signing some players from Brisbane Broncos, etc., and they're going to just be like a normal team. So while they're adjusting things around and kind of finding their feet, it's probably best going now. And being a number in there, in my opinion.
You're right. You're right. You actually are 100% right. Nail on the head type of stuff there because the Perth Bears are sort of halfway through building their roster for 2027. So you're right. Gaz is right in terms of the Mal Meninga effect. I mean, he's probably not going to get a better opportunity to establish himself in an NRL team in 2027. So we'll park that one up there. I mean, one out for Rhinos in 27, one in for 2026. Leeds Rhinos there confirmed today signing of hooker Danny Levi on a 2-year deal. I mean, this one's been brewing for a few weeks now, Jordan. I mean, we know Humans going in 2027, but you've been crying out for a world-class hooker. Danny Levi's your man. We know what he can do from his past days when he was at Huddersfield. Surely you're happy with that signing, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. We needed a strong runner, a good runner, hooker wise. I don't take any out away from Jared. I think Jared's really established himself as a hooker, considering he's a natural, second rower, loose forward. We're losing obviously to thingy to Bradford. I forgot his name now. Ackers, losing Ackers to Bradford. Obviously, we needed a replacement in there anyway. But for me, we needed someone to start. So for me, Jared O'Connor was great for, the time Ackers were injured, etc. But we did need someone to be in front, and then O'Connor can go on bench for me, easy replacement hooker. It's something I think we struggled with last season. I think the tackling element of it, like Jared O'Connor, were really good in defence. But yeah, we didn't have anyone that were nippy off a ball. I think it'll speed Ruck up as well, and it'll definitely give our boys a big chance on wings to eventually get some more tries on board. So potentially, yeah, I think it should really do us well.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz is probably very similar to Jackson Hastings in terms of his situation when he went back to the NRL. I mean, he didn't get a hell of a lot of game time at the Canberra Raiders. He's probably been sat on the bench or out of the squad and playing reserve grade. He's got something to prove. He's played Super League before. We know his qualities. I'd imagine it's just a case of refinding that form and bringing it into Super League in a Rhinos jersey.
Yeah, and he's going to want to play every week as well. And obviously, having O'Connor's established himself as a hooker, as you said, Jordan, he's fighting for his place. So it's only good to it's a welcome headache for the head coach.
Yeah, definitely. But you need competition for places. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, being a Rovers fan, that when we back in the day, you could go into Craven Park and without even looking at a team sheet, you knew who was playing because that's all they had at the time. And it's a similar thing now with Rhinos, the sort of building, they need competition for places to make the full environment stronger and stronger on the field. So, I mean, he definitely ticks the boxes, Danny Levi. And he's another one who's going to obviously drive the standards up at Headingley. A bit of news in terms of the international game. We've got a World Cup to participate in 2026 in Australia, New Zealand and PNG. Obviously, the groups have been decided. It's a bit of a funny setup, this one, Gaz, because there's 3 groups and the 3 groups don't play the teams within the group. So Group A, they play all each other 3 times, and then Group B and C, they play against the opposing group. So B will play so many teams in C and vice versa. So England's group, they'll play Tonga, PNG and France. I mean, it's a funny setup. without really knowing what's happening with coach and moving forward, what's happening with that. I mean, is it one of these rugby league things in this country where obviously the World Cup's being decided elsewhere, but we sort of need to get us own stall in order first with coach? How do you sort of see that panning out?
Um, I've no idea unless you bring in someone who's already within the system at the moment. I might promote to the assistant or something like that, but I don't know. In regards to those groups, and I've got 3 words for the IRL: common effing sense, please. That's 4 words. I think it means put the please on the end. I was going to be horrible, but 4 words. Common sense, please. Honestly, I just
Yeah, they've
can't get my head around that.
made it so difficult the way they're doing it. I'm sure they've got the reasons behind why they're doing the draw like they are. I mean, it's just one of them. It's just something else that's been made messy when probably didn't need to be. Tonga, PNG, and France. Is it as clear cut as saying we should beat all 3 of them and get to the last stages of the World Cup? Or going off
Um,
what we saw in the Ashes, is it going to be a struggle?
I think we beat France. I think that's a soft game. No disrespect to them, but that's a soft game. Tonga have shown what they can do to us in recent years, especially went over there. Papua New Guinea. I mean, they're gonna have the biggest following out there. National sport. It's only over the water from Australia or wherever the hell they are. That's going to be tough. I won't be surprised if we don't make out that group.
No, it's not a given, Jordan, is it? I mean, like Gaz said, the Tongans are a big physical side. So Papua New Guinea, you're not guaranteed to beat all 3 of them teams, Jordan, are you?
I mean, just to go back to what you were saying before I carry on with that, for me, like when you were saying about how it's all set up with World Cup, I mean, I don't see it should go ahead. If you can't get enough nations in there for it to be a competitive tournament, you don't do it. In my opinion, like I think there's only 8 in women's, 8 teams, and it's like you look at men's, it's like there should be at least, I don't know, 12 teams in there, and it'd be like football where
I think there's 10, isn't there?
yeah, like I say, it should be like football where you've got all these groups and you're all playing everything. I think when you're having to play over groups and that, it don't make sense for me. Like that's what your knockout stages is for. But yeah, what you were saying, yeah, it's a tough one, and I think it all comes down to getting us coach sorted. We keep Sean Wayne, yeah, we don't get out of that group. So, but for me, as recent years go, we have actually been better, a little bit better than Papua New Guinea. So, it might just be the Tongans. Maybe that's probably his issue. But yeah, I think it goes on to manager. I think it does. I think if we need to make sure that we get that sorted going into World Cup so we can get prepped properly for it. I think we need to get that sorted out first, foremost. Get Sean Wayne sorted, whether he's staying or not, and then we can start prepping them.
One thing we don't want to be going in blind last minute, do we? Or we don't want any last minute changes to the coaching staff where it could trip us up. I mean, we just want it crystal clear who's going to be the coach, whether it's Sean Wayne or not, and then we can build for that moving forward next year. And
John,
obviously,
just looking at the groups here now, right? There's so many countries out there who are playing rugby league. You know what I mean? Serbia out there, Holland out there, Spain out there, Jamaica out there, who are all building, especially Holland. I mean, it's just growing like mad in Holland.
All them type of.
Where are they?
Why? I mean, I know they're not massive nations when you think about it, but like, why is Wales not in there? Scotland, Ireland, like what we used to have. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's not even a World Cup. It's just a glorified.
Well, you're talking
nations,
2000, 2001, when we were watching it before, and Barry Mack and that were Ireland. You had them all then. Well, what's difference? Why are they all? Why are Wales not wanting to be in there? They're in there for rugby union. Why are they not in there for rugby league? Like,
there's no interest, is there?
Play for them.
I'd imagine there's probably more interest than you think, but again, a lot of it in this country will be down to finances. with players and getting players where they need to be and all the rest of it, and accommodation. There's enough, as far as I know. I mean, my knowledge ain't great in terms of the championship, but I know enough to have an overall opinion that there's plenty of players in that championship that qualify to play for Ireland, Wales, Scotland,
exactly.
and even players that have played for England in the past but can't get in England set up now. I'm sure there'll be a few out there who qualify for them Three Nations.
McAlodden played for Ireland.
Yeah. So all I can think of, it must be financial reasons why.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think if you're Welsh or you're Irish or Scottish, you must be gutted that you haven't got a rugby league international team. Like, do you know what I mean?
And this is my argument for not having a Great Britain anymore, because it's just going to be England. It's going to be English players.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You won't get someone born in Wales playing for Great Britain. This is not going to happen, is it?
I think that's where, like, your Scottish and Irish, and that probably gutted that Great Britain in there, because not to say that we pick Irish players for Great Britain, but
I mean, who's the last Irish player to play for Great Britain? Brian Carney.
Brian Carney, yeah.
I mean, actually born in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a funny setup, that's for sure. I mean, there'll be reasons why, but all I can think of is it's financial reasons. I mean, that's probably not what people want to hear, but what else would it be, really? I mean,
special guest this week, a man who's had a stellar career in the game, Mr. Ben Crooks. How you doing, Ben?
So, good to see you and get some rugby league chat with you, Ben. First and foremost, mate, we say to all guests, we really appreciate your time. We know you've got busy schedules this time of year. I mean, but first of all, mate, sort of give us an insight to where you are at this time of the year. You know, sort of building for the new season and coming off the back of the 2025. Where are you with your sort of fitness, etc.?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We've just finished this. We're just starting the second week of pre-season. I'm actually quite grateful because it's the first year, I think, in about 3 years where I've been able to actually start the pre-season. I haven't come off any injuries. I had to have an extended time off, so I've been able to actually do a bit of training in my off season as well. So I'm feeling good, strong and fit, to be fair. So looking forward to it. Got a bit of a short turnaround this year. Shortest I've ever had in my career. I think first game we've got, I think it's second week in Jan, first week in Jan in a friendly for Salty's testimonial game. So literally 8 weeks, 10 weeks, I think something like that. It's about as long as we're going to get. So need to get ready quick.
Straight in the deep end.
Mate. I mean, that's it. I mean, for the people who don't know, the difference between Super League and the Championship, mate, is it similar schedules for pre-season and stuff like that?
No, it varies. It varies depending on where you are, depending on what level the club's at and what aspirations the club have and stuff like that. At the minute, we train 3 nights a week. We train Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. You look at full-time boys; they'll be in five times a week. Again, depending on what their conditioners are, what their trainers want. I know, speaking to George Lawler at Cass, they're going Monday all the way through to Friday, back to back, and then having the weekend off. You'll more often than not see some teams do Monday, Tuesday, have a break Wednesday, and then either go Thursday, Friday, and then an occasional Saturday morning, and then Sunday off, and try and rotate it that way. It just depends on what your conditioner's got planned, how that schedule pans out. But for part-time boys, our schedule pretty much stays the same throughout pre-season into the season, because obviously 90% of the lads in all the teams work as well, so it's hard to get anything extra in, and that's probably what makes it a little bit more difficult, is that we don't have that time frame unless we're going to be training till 10 o'clock at night. You've only got a short window to be able to get that conditioning as well as that skill-based stuff after missing 8 weeks through your off-season.
That's it, mate. It's definitely a tough gig, but credit to all you boys. You put shift in, on the field and off the field, so it's a credit to you all. I mean, we'll go back to the very start, because obviously this segment of the podcast is about yourself and this career of yours. It's been a fantastic career. Sort of, where did it all start for you, Ben? Who was your amateur club, and how did you come for the ranks to sort of make the levels that you did?
So I started off at Castle Lane. I can remember we first went down around 5 years old, so not even old enough to be able to join a specific team. Just went down, with eager, really wanted to get started. I was allowed to train with the older boys, and then when I got to 6-7 years of age, I managed to sign on with the under sevens there. stayed with them all the way through my amateur career. I had a few different coaches along the way, my dad being one of them. God bless him, he absolutely hated trying to coach kids, but he wanted me to try and have the best development as I could, as well as a couple of other lads that had a bit of a spark in them to have that potential to go on further. Moving on from there, I joined. Back in the day when we had service areas and scholarship programs, started on at Wakey Scholarships. You were only allowed to stay in your own catchment area for so long, and then when I got to, I think it was 13, 14, you're allowed to go outside your area, and I managed to fulfil a bit of a first step of a dream of mine, which were to sign with FC in a professional manner. Stayed with FC scholarship all the way through to academy level, played reserves, went on to college, and then actually left college halfway through my first year. And when got back, told my mum that I've sort of been kicked out and walked out. She says, "Well, you've got two options. You either get back into education, or you've got to go find work. So you're not staying here and just." Because at the time I was getting a bit of decent money from my academy contract, and she says, "You're not just relying on rugby. You're going to be doing something." So she actually got in touch with the club to see if there were any of the sponsors that had a couple of apprenticeship programs going, and luckily enough for me, Rich Agar caught wind of it. And he says, "Oh, well, if he's got a bit of spare time, he can come in full time with us," and that's where it started with them. So I was lucky enough that early on in my career, I managed to go into full time when I were 16. And,
nice.
Yeah. So it were good exposure. It were good from the start, and obviously a bit of an ego boost for me to think that someone's seen something in me that early to be able to get me into a full time environment at that stage. So it was good being involved with the likes of Sean Long, Sean Berrigan, Martin Gleeson, Mark O'Mealy, Craig Fitzgibbon, like absolute superstars of the game. I'm walking around training absolutely in all of them. So I came through as a back row /13. So we got split up backs and forwards. I obviously went off with the forwards, and they had this sort of circuit on the field where the Prowler like sleds that you see on like CrossFitters push. We had them on the field in absolute bog and mud, and you were sort of in like a little team going down in a circus. You had like sprints, something else, and all I can remember is trying to push this sled at about 65 kilo that had 40 kilo on it on grass, and it just won't budge. And I'm just doing wheel spins in dirt in my boots, and I'm just slipping face front. But good. It was a rude awakening. Obviously showed me the level that I've been at to where I've got to get to. We were great, loved it. Went all the way through. Obviously made my debut in 2012. Absolute dream come true for me. Remember, I came off the bench against Huddersfield in the Challenge Cup, and then I made my official debut against Wigan the week after full debut.
Oh, what a game that is to start your career on.
Yeah, exactly. And this was at the time where Wigan were flying as well, and they were renowned for being the big nasty team and big, really aggressive team. You have to have something about you to be able to actually kick on with them. And it was good. We got beat, managed to hold my own, and proud of myself. The whole family were there. Really massive achievement for me and everybody. Kick on the year after. Obviously, I call it the golden year, because that's where it all starts coming downhill from there. Everybody talks about rugby league as a roller coaster. My rugby league career is like oblivion. It gets all the way up to the top. 2013 was when I was at top. Obviously, I had a pretty decent year. Got picked in Dream Team. Got awarded Young Player of the Year. Played at Wembley. Again, we were speaking that old school era of never dreamt about winning a Super League title. But to get to Wembley in a Challenge Cup final with a club that I've supported and my entire life and a massive fan of were unbelievable. They were absolutely unbelievable. And it nearly didn't happen either. I ended up I did my syndesmosis 4 weeks before the final. It was a week before the semi, actually. All right, we'll brush it off, trying to be brave, right? Get through it, do what you need to do for the lads and all that. And we played Warrington at Huddersfield, and nobody expected us to win, I don't think, at the time as well, because Warrington were playing pretty well. Obviously, A-list team. And lads ended up doing a job on them. Absolutely elated, go down, celebrating, cheering with them all. And I can remember walking back because I ended up going with my dad, because I'd only been out at hospital a day. So I couldn't get on team bus and stuff like that. My dad ended up taking us. I'm on crutches. I'm like hobbling back to the car and walking with my dad, and I just burst out into tears because I was like, "This is the moment I've dreamt of my entire life of getting to Wembley, and the club that I've dreamt of playing for. I've been having the year that I've had, and I'm not going to be able to do it." And it just absolutely shattered me. More so because I know how rare them opportunities are.
Yeah.
Dad's played at Wembley twice, never won. Obviously won in the replay with LFC, but never won at Wembley. Only got an handful of opportunities to go. Some blokes go through the career without ever being able to get there. So I knew how rare them opportunities were, and I never thought I'd be able to get there again if I missed this chance. Fast forward to a week, absolute. It was weird. I'm not going to say a miracle. It was far from a miracle, but it was a very strange scenario to be into. The fact that 2 weeks after surgery, I felt absolutely fine. I was texting a couple of lads, and I can remember sending them a video, and I sent a video to the physio at the time, and I was sort of just like running up and down in my living room. I can run. I'm good to play.
I was going to say that your own in-house fitness test.
Yeah, just doing like shuttles in my living room in a 5x5 meter room.
Bleep test in living room.
Yeah. And I said to my physio, and he says, "Get up, physio, I go with your prat. You ain't going to end up making it worse." Blah blah blah. And I messaged him. I said, "On a serious note, mate, I feel absolutely fine."
Yeah.
Went to go see him at the start of that week. If any test you want on me, any medical test you want on me, and he's touching, he's like, at this point, he's trying to hurt me. He's like, he wants to try and prove a point.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm laid there. I'm like, "Mate, it feels absolutely fine." So he's left scratching his head, and I said, "I'm going to tell you now. I'm off into Pete's office now, and I'm going to tell him if I pass a fitness test, I'm good to go. I'm good to play." And again, it's no, you're not. Blah blah blah. Again, I'm only 18, 19. So usually it's shut up, do as you're told, crack on with this sort of position. I've never really been that sort of person to keep my mouth shut. A few people who know me will be able to tell you that. And I said, "Look, you've done all your tests. It feels fine. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get him. I'm going to force him to get the conditioner to do me a fitness test. And I'm going to really twist his arm to consider me to play." So physio ended up backing me up. Went in, told him he's got the conditioner in. He said, "Right, well, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. You've got to straight line run. You've got to do the physio's running test. And you've got to do the conditioning strength test. You've got to be able to pass a fitness test. And just for the duration of running that you're going to have to do." I said, "Yeah, that's fine." Spent that full week, passed it all. Didn't have any flare-ups in my ankle whatsoever. Had no repercussions from it. I said, "I'm fine. I'm good to go." And I sort of left him no option. Again, with the way that I was playing that year, they were like, "Well, he's good to go, but I've got to pick him." So I managed to actually fight my way back in to playing at Wembley, and it were again massive dream come true. Game wasn't great. I think it finished 14-0 to Wigan. I didn't play great. A lot of people were saying it down to my ankle, and it wasn't. There were other factors that went into it. I just didn't have my best game, playing out slightly. And that's just the way it went. And I have no regrets whatsoever about putting me on to play because I was physically fit.
Being in there, innit?
Yeah.
It's that memory of being there and
exactly. And I said this on a previous podcast a few days ago, in the fact that everything in sport, and especially rugby, is a risk to reward ratio. Is it worth doing it? I will never look back now and think, "Oh, I wish I didn't risk it."
Yeah.
I had no issues leading up to the game, but unfortunately after the game, because of the intensity and the duration of that intensity, my ankle were absolutely ruined afterwards. Like, I didn't play the rest of the season. And this was back in, you played in August, so I think there were a month and a half left. I missed out. We got to the playoffs, missed out on the playoffs, and things like that. And people say, "Oh, do you regret doing it?" No.
So that's it. I mean, how many chances did you get to play at Wembley?
With my team. So we had a big crowd that year as well, because it was the first time Wolves got back to Wembley in 30 years or whatever it was. Absolutely packed, absolutely screaming. And that feeling of walking out on the place that you dreamt about as a kid, no one will be able to take that away from me now.
That's it. It's something that's in the locker forever now.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's only going to go one way, that bent it. As soon as you're fit and it's in your mind, you're not looking back at that. You're just going for it, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the way that you've got to play sport as well, especially at professional level. You've got to be able to back yourself and trust your judgments. And the moment you start second guessing yourself at any point, that's when issues start occurring.
That's what I mean. You've got to have confidence in yourself, haven't you, to back
Yeah,
yourself?
exactly, mate. It's not like you're just going around to chuck a ball on a park. You've got to have confidence that you can do a job. And I'm one of them people that I've been injured a lot throughout my career, and I've played busted a lot through my career. Probably the majority of it, I've played busted of, am I putting the team at risk? Am I putting the team at jeopardy? Am I going to be able to do my job properly? As soon as that becomes an issue, nobody's had to pull me out. I'd pull myself out because I am that much of a selfish person, and that game were exactly the same. As much as that was my dream and my goal to do it, if I genuinely thought I were going to be at risk of us losing that game, I'd have never put my hand up to play. I'd have never put my hand up to do it. But again, they're the risks that we take, and like I say, you've got to be able to back yourself to do something. And sometimes it comes up trumps. Sometimes you land flat on your face, and that's just sport, isn't it?
You just never know what's going to happen on the day, do you?
No. That's the beauty of the Challenge Cup for me. All the way from the start, from the amateur games, all the way through to the final, it's one game. All you've got to do is to win that one game that you're able to talk about form, and form goes out the window. And it's true. You don't need form. And hopefully the gods are shining on you, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, spot on that.
I mean, off the back of what you just said in terms of injuries, Crooksy, I mean, is that all saying in any sport, and more so in rugby league, that, you know, you've been on the injury bench a few times in your career, haven't you? And I mean, does them injuries make you stronger mentally, you know, to plough forward, knowing what you've been through? Is that a true reflection on that? Is your sort of personal look on it?
It's a two-headed coin, to be fair, because the amount of times, and there's a cheese you're saying, it's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's how you can get back up and all that sort of stuff. It is true, because it does build that resilience, knowing that it's all right, I've come back from this, I can do it again. I've done this, I can do it again. And that's one thing I've had drilled into me from my old man whenever I've had any sort of setback is, it's just another challenge. Every time that something's gone against me, whether it's been injuries, coach don't like me, team's not doing well, have to move clubs again, or whatever, just another challenge. It's just another challenge for you to overcome, and it's just going to be another chapter in the story later on. You can say, oh, well, I got fronted with this, I turned it into this. And it does build that resilience. But the second side of that is, it weighs you down a little bit. It's like, if we injuries, for say, oh my God, it's happened again. How many times can I keep doing this now? This is getting to me now. And then if you have a really serious one, that can play on your mind, thinking, can I go into? I did this going into this sort of tackle. I did this going into this sort of movement and attack. Am I committed to be able to do that again, knowing that this might happen again, and then I'm going to be back to square one after I've just got myself good? You know, there's that psychological aspect of it. Is, can you come back? Can you switch it back off? Can you switch it off and just crack on as though nothing ever happened to start with? And that is a really hard thing to be able to do.
Is it also one of those things as well where when you are injured and, you know, it's like, oh, I'm injured again, there's that element as well, isn't there, where someone's obviously taking your position and doing a good job in that position, and you're obviously then trying to fight for your place again, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's all competition, isn't it, which I'm sure will push you forward.
Oh, it is, mate. It is. Don't get me wrong, but that's why we play the game.
Yeah.
And that's why when we talk about you've got to have a little bit something wrong with you, everyone's got an ego to them as well. Yeah. Some are a lot bigger than others, but everyone's got to have that little bit of ego around them to think that I'm better than you, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove that I can get back into the team, regardless of it or not. And that's when you always hear the cliche chats and the repeated chats of when teams start recruiting and they bring other people and, are you worried that? No, because it's competition. It's good competition. It makes you play better.
Yeah.
Because every player has the arrogance of they're better than the next person. And I've always had that in my career since I was a kid. Since I first started into first team, when I was younger, but even when I went into first team, people like Kirk Ewan or great mates with Kirk now, like, coming up better than you. I'll be in this team and I'll be better than you. I don't care who's in front of me, I'm going to be better than you.
That only benefits the team as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Two people, like say, two walkers fighting for the position.
Yeah.
You're going to elevate the rest.
Yeah, but And I say that with a pinch of salt in the fact that you do get these people that go a little bit too far with it and their ego takes over and that ego becomes arrogance.
Yeah.
And that's when you can sort of trip yourself up a little bit. And I'd like to think that I've bordered on that line a couple of times, but I've never crossed over to that point. I've always been willing to learn and get better. And I've always said the moment that you don't think you can get any better, you might as well hang them up. Because you end up going on a downward spiral from that. Because someone's been in the game longer than you doesn't mean that they know everything. And it's same the other way. A young kid might be coming up, snipping at miles, and he might be able to do something that I can't. Or he might be able to see or read the game a little bit differently to how I've always read it.
Yeah.
You can still learn from people that haven't got the experience that you've got because they see it a completely different way to you. And
you can always learn something from the person you're teaching as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
One of those things as well, though, Ben, like, because obviously rugby league's such a short career. Like you were saying about learning from other people and stuff, like, is it ever a worry that, like, when you're doing for competition, is it ever a worry that at some point, in yourself, someone is going to take your spot and you're going to then move on again? Like, is that a worry in your mind? Or
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so on the basis that, again, that confidence and that little bit of ego comes into, this is mine, I'm going to keep this. The only point that you'll start getting towards that I could ever think that you'd think like that is when you're coming up towards the back end and say for like an outside back, that you're getting a little bit slower and they've got a kid in here that can run meters in 10 flat.
Yeah.
But that's where the confidence goes, I know he can't pass like me. I know I can read and run a line better than what he can. So you manipulate and you change your game as you grow and as you get older. And you find ways to keep you on top and you find areas that other people are weaker than you in and you make them stronger.
Well, so, you've moved positions, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been around and it happens, mate. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I came through amateur back row loose forward, playing in under 23s at 16, at 70 kilo against Wigan. And I've got Addison Hansen in front of me. Hargreaves and Liam Mossop were still coming through. And I'm absolutely getting trampled to pieces. Like, I'm obviously nowhere near big enough. But this is why I liked the old way of the youth system that came through, because you got exposed to these absolute elite top players and you've got your body and your mind ready for when you went up. And Andy Lass were the coach of the 23s and he obviously noticed straight away that I couldn't handle it physically. But from a rugby brain point of view and a skill aspect, I could handle it in that point. So that's when he ended up moving me to centre. He says, look, I know you don't like moving towards the outside backs, because I always saw it as an insult, because I always wanted to play in the middle. If someone shoves you in backs, in centre or on wing, because you're not big enough to just get out there out of way.
Yeah.
And I had a good sit down with Lasty when he first moved in there. I said, look, it's not that we don't think that you're good enough in this position, but at the minute, you're not physically big enough to be able to handle it, but we still want you in the team because we still think you can do a job for us. So we want to move you into centre. And then it just happened that our half all right at centre. And it just stuck from there. And then obviously made what little name I've got and myself at centre. And then when I was at Cairn, I had a couple of stints on wing. That year after COVID, but I think I played a full season on wing then. And had a couple of stints at fullback as well when we were struggling for numbers. So moving on. But again, that's sometimes you've got to be able to do that as a player. And again, you talk about the competition for places. You get some people that are this is my position, I'm doing this, I'm sticking at it like this. Well, that's fine, but I think he's better than you, see it out. I got picked for England Academy and we were playing over in France. Same thing, playing it back row. Thought I was confident that I was better than everybody else there. And we were in a training session 2 days before the game. We're doing like a team-on-team sort of thing, and the coach at the time, Dave Elliott, said, right, Ben, go. You're starting up right wing. Straight away, bang, negative thoughts. He's just shoving me out wing. He's got these lads from Wigan and Saints and Leeds that are all a lot bigger than me, and it's the same old story. They're bigger than you, so they're going to do a better job. Spat me, dummy out a little bit, kicking stones. Got through the session. Didn't play the game. Spoke to my dad afterwards and he said, right, well, you need to go up and ask him before you leave and just say really respectfully, why, for whatever reason, didn't I get picked in the team? Is it something that I can work on? Is it something do I need to get bigger? Do I need to work on some aspect of my skill that they're better at? Like, what is it? Because I want to be able to represent my country in this position, blah, blah, blah. And he said, mate, I had you on bench. I was going to bring you on at potential because I thought you could cover an outside back, but you were kicking us. I've just missed my chance to play for my country, all because I was kicking stones because I wanted to play back row instead of just having the opportunity to play there. So then the following year, learned from my mistakes, learned from my lessons, went through it, ended up playing in centre for my country again, which again were fantastic. But that's going back to the original point is sometimes players have got to learn to adapt. Like, look at Callum Watkins, best centre in the world at one point. He's just played for his country 10 years later in back row.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of players that do it just to keep longevity in the career, if anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it turns out better in them positions than what they were in the original ones as well.
And I think that's a credit to players as well. If they haven't got another string to their bow, it's that more difficult for the coach to say no, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Crooksy, but I think when you was at Rovers, you've had a few games at fullback at one point. So again, showing your versatility in all them positions.
Yeah, it was, and it was a bit of a daunting aspect because I'd never really played one. I'd run it a couple of times in training, and it was more my backfield work that Tony said, right, well, we can get you in here. We know that you can carry out a yardage. We know you can pass. You're playing centre. Don't have to worry about being too fancy with it out of bat, but just get the ball, carry when the pass is on. The pass is on. You don't have to make. We just need someone out there that's reliable enough to be able to do it. And thought I did an all right job. I had a few complaints about it afterwards, but obviously it's one of them, innit? Everyone's a coach. Everyone knows the best. But I enjoyed it. It's a way of getting my hands on the ball a lot more and give me a bit of freedom to roam around. And it also gives the beauty of being able to do it and move around is it gives you an insight into what the other players have got to do for you when you go back to your position. Yeah. So once you've had that exposure to somewhere else, your brain changes because you're thinking about your job. It's like, oh, well, he's going to be coming here now. And it makes you better because you know a better place to stand because you've been in that position on the other end.
Yeah.
And that's something what the best players always do, what I found anyway. The best players always knew the other players' roles really well.
Yeah.
Because I think also as well, Crooksy, you probably had the best coach to tell you to do that in terms of throwing it about a bit.
Yeah.
At that point, he played, Rovers was playing expansive rugby, and like you say, Tony's all for that, isn't he?
Yeah, mate. I've been blessed. I've had some really good coaches as well. I think, to be honest with you, I think I've had more coaches than clubs because nobody's ever stayed with me more than 2 years, apart from Tony. But Tony were great. He loved to throw the ball around, but at the same time, he's openly said in different interviews he's not the most technically gifted coach, which I think is a bit of a lie to con people out of it because he's really smart technically. But his main focus is all psychological stuff. So what we worked on a lot when he was there, and I think it's still embedded now at Rovers, is the determination to work for each other in defence more than anything. And getting the camaraderie in that team sheet is that if you don't do your job, you're letting your mate down. It's not you letting yourself down, you're letting him down. Yeah. So if a guy scored on right wing, it's not just the right winger's fault, it's the left winger's fault. And you saw them times when Ryan Hall were there, the amount of times that there'd be a try, scoring opportunity for opposition in right-hand corner, and all this popped up out of nowhere from left wing.
Yeah.
And that was a system that he embedded is everybody moves. Doesn't matter what side of field you're on, you move, and if they shift it back to your side, then everybody's got to get on the bike and get back to the other side then. It's not
it's all like each other in it.
One space at field, yeah.
It's all committing to each other.
Yeah.
Definitely know. Like Tony Smith, that's for sure.
Doncaster, a funny spell in Australia we'll get back to in a minute. Cast Tigers, Lee Centurions at the time, Hull KR, Keighley, and at the minute you're playing for the Halifax Panthers. I mean, that Parramatta one sticks out, Ben. I know, correct me if I'm wrong again, I don't think you played a game, but you played New South Wales, is that correct?
Yeah, so I played...
How did that come about, mate? And how did it sort of start and end?
Yeah, it probably came off the back of the lowest point I've had in my career, to be fair. So, obviously, going off the highs of 2013, achieving what I personally achieved and the team achieved at the time, like we've just talked about, getting to Wembley and things like that. Peter Gentle gets sacked. Lee Radford takes over. We were all really excited because Radders were great with young lads when he was assistant. So we thought we got a good gig here, because at the time, obviously, there were people like me, Tom Lynham, Jamie Shaw, Josh Bowden, Chris Green, all come through the system together. Radders have been a big part of that. And personally, I wasn't playing great. The club weren't doing too great. And bit of a funny turn, to be fair. I still had a year left on my contract. The club wanted to renew it. The first time I've ever been sort of open to seeing what else were out there. I said, I ain't saying no, never. I said, but I've still got a year left. I'm not playing great. The club's not playing great. I don't think it's the best time. See this year out, and then we'll go into next year and see what happens. And so we were stuck in a bit of a corner. To which my agent had got in touch with Peter Gentle, who were assistant coach at Parramatta at the time. Daniel Anderson was the director of rugby. And an opportunity came up to go over there. We managed to work a deal out with the club where we're not impacting them, so a fee wouldn't have to be paid. But if I came back to the Super League, then that team would have to pay that fee or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So as much as I've always had a desire to go over to Australian playing NRL and stuff like that, it probably came a little bit too soon, a little bit sooner than what I'd expected it to, but it was certainly something that I weren't going to try and turn down, because again, we talk about opportunities in sport and you don't know when they're going to come around again, and I'm a firm believer if something shows up in your face, and you've got to try and go for it. And I went out with my partner, who's my wife now, and I loved it. It was great, great way of living, great way of life. Obviously, it didn't work out the way that I'd planned or way that it got sold to me as well. So when we first spoke to Daniel and I went over and I got to speak to him, we'll bed you in for the first 3 quarters of the year. You get to learn how we sort of play over here, because it is a little bit different. You get in and around the team, get used to systems and the structure and what we do. And towards the back end, you'll probably start looking at getting drip fed in a little bit, get a couple of games under your belt, and then in your second year, you'll be fighting for a starting spot. That was a plan. Everyone's got a plan until someone gets smacked in the face.
All right.
Get out there 2 or 3 weeks into pre-season. My groins blew up on me. Ended up having to have a double tendinopathy on my groins. Had a pretty tough conversation with Brad Arthur, because he was the head coach at the time. And to be fair to Brad, he didn't really know what he'd signed. He didn't know anything about me. It was Pete and Daniel that had managed to sort this deal out, so he was a little bit in dark as to who I was, what type of player I was, how I played, and my character and things like that. And the previous year, they had a bit of an issue with Lee Mossop with an injury as well. So from what I got told, Lee had a shoulder injury, had surgery. He'd come back at Christmas. Something had happened and he needed surgery again on his shoulder. Gone back out, and I don't think he ended up playing for Parramatta until later on in the year, and only got a handful of games under his belt for the club. And that was when Brad was coach. I think he had the impression that I'd come over busted.
Yeah.
Into it, and because that's what his exposure to British players was. So I can't really fault him for that if that's what's happened to him previously, and then it's come out and it looks like a similar story again. Yeah. So that was a bit of a setback, put me in a bit of a bad books with head coach, which in a great start. Obviously missed all the pre-season. I were hoping to try and get back for the Nines tournament in January or February. Unfortunately missed that deadline by a couple of weeks, because that was going to be my foot again. Brad wanted to see how I played and got on. Missed that deadline. So that's when I managed to play a couple of friendlies for him after that. One out, I'm sure one in Adelaide, another in Penrith, which were good, great. Still managed to get on the field with all these superstars that are playing for the club at the time. And again, absolute dream come true to be able to do that. Even if it wasn't a competitive fixture, to be even say that you graced the field with some of those players were unbelievable. So which I ended up playing at New South Wales Cup for Wentworthville. Again, even in that league, you're still playing against some superstars. So you've got to obviously...
There's some strong competition over there, mate, isn't there?
Yeah, well, people it's not so much a competition, but you imagine every NRL team's got a feeder team that plays in that league. You can only play 17 players at one time. They've got a multi-million-dollar cap on top of ours. There's some players that aren't going to get picked in first team, so they've got to play somewhere.
Well, I'm going to say that to you, Ben. Is it a bit daunting when you go there and you're a bit like, because we've spoke about it before in as podcasts, and I've always said it, and I'm sure boys agreed. Like, you think of like the Australian like national team or just Australian players in general. It is very difficult to have an English centre winger go over there. I mean, Ryan Hall went to Roosters, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did I think it was his knee. You do find a lot of props and second rowers going to Australia and actually making quite successful.
I've had this conversation with a few people, and I have my own theory about it. To be fair, is the fact that you'll look at the conditions that we play in as amateurs, and when we're coming through, it's wet, it's cold, it's boggy.
Yeah.
Perfect for breeding forwards. Tough.
Yeah.
Forwards have got to play it slow, get their head kicked in very slow conditions.
Yeah.
They then become elite players. Then now they're conditioned and they're not as probably podgy as what they were as a kid. They're full of muscle. They're a bit quicker, but they've still that toughness ingrained in them from playing through all that. Then you put them on a fast track and a dry track. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that hamstrings your outside backs a little bit.
Yeah.
You get that exposure to them fast tracks. You don't get that exposure to that clean skill that what they're used to.
Yeah.
So, and the outside backs go out there. I'm not saying that outside backs can't go out there and do it, but track record shows not many people can go out there and stay out there and do a great job of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, over there, fast track, they all play touch. The footwork's unbelievable. They're all lightning. They've got the perfect conditions to breed outside backs. Whereas I think we've got the perfect conditions to breed forwards. And I think that's my theory on why English forwards always seem to go over and do a really good job because they're tough. They get on with stuff because they haven't been able to do the other stuff because of how they've been conditioned in the junior levels.
So the way your situation was over there, Crooks, Lewis Todd's been through the same thing last season. Got picked up to go over there and he's played more in the reserve grade.
Yeah, and you've got to feel sorry for Lewis because he's had a similar sort of thing as where Jason Demetriou signed him when he was coach. Yeah. He's left.
Then Wayne Bennett came in.
Bennett's gone in. Clearly don't like him because you don't have to know from that first comment when he turned around and goes, who are you? Comic or whatever it is. Like, nice one, cheers. Yeah, whether he's saying it tongue in cheek, I don't know. Wayne, a couple of lads that I know play with him who played under him for England and stuff like that. Said he's a good bloke. He's a bit of a joker himself, to be fair. Likes to have a little bit of crack with lads and stuff. So whether that were a bit tongue in cheek or whether it were a bit of a I don't rate you, I don't like you sort of thing. So you got to feel sorry for Lewis in that aspect.
I mean, fair play. He had the balls to go over and
and exactly. I'm not kidding. The amount of players that get the opportunity to go and they don't go on the basis that, in my opinion, they're scared. They're scared that if they go out and it don't work and what are people going to say about them. They're scared of if they go out there and they don't play and they sort of get forgotten about a little bit and they lose the name and the title and stuff like that. And they ended up staying over here. Don't get me wrong, there's players that get opportunities to go and they can't go. They've got family commitments to stay. They can't take all the family, although the family's not willing to. They don't want to move away from the family. But mate, it was tough. It was tough, don't get me wrong. Because obviously we just got back from injury as well. About a month into that, it came out that the year before, Parramatta had broke all 3 salary caps, so they couldn't play anybody outside their top 25. So unless they were a special exemption. So that was another kick in teeth. So I'm not going to play this year now. And it was quite funny because they had a few injuries. And Bruta Ferramo made his debut. Scored 3 tries, got man at match. Wasn't allowed to play it week after.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he was back playing with us at Wenty. Like that's the politics and the business side of the NRL as well. There's that much money involved. There's a lot more rules that people have got to abide by. So that was another kick in teeth. Fast forward 2 or 3 months because of the injuries I had with my groins. I ended up getting an hernia. I had to have hernia surgery. Missed another 2 months of playing. By this point, I'm trying to work my way back. I've had a chat with Pete. just about my future. I'm like, I get that I'm not sort of Brad's player, because you only had to look at the squad that he was building. Again, it was heaviest I'd been, and I was 93 kilo. I had blokes at 100 kilo centres, all Polynesian lads. Yeah, Brad Takarangi, Johnny Falau. You had people like experienced players like Bo Champion, Will Opawati, like Semi Radradra were there. Like I didn't look or play like any of these players. So realistically, were he going to play me?
Yeah.
And Peter, honestly, said, look, you're probably not his type of player. And at the time I had a few options to come back and play over here. And I said, I've got a few options. What do you reckon I should do? I want to stay. I'd like to stay. But I ain't here for an holiday. I ain't here for 2 years in Sun. I want to play first team rugby. I've just spent my entire career trying to build up to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to then come back and then not be able to do it again. And Pete's words are basically, look, I don't think he's going to play you. It'll be tough to get in. You're still young. Go back.
Yeah.
You've got more than enough time to be able to come back out again.
At least you've got someone that can give you that honesty though as well.
Yeah. And it was good. And again, I had taken it away from Brad. He was still a fairly young coach at the time and probably could have handled things a little bit better. I could have certainly handled things a lot better because I was still a young player. And I look back now and people say, "Oh, you gutted you came back," and I am genuinely upset. I should have. And again, hindsight's a great thing, especially in sport.
Yeah.
Looking back, I probably should have stayed for my second year and stuck to my guns. And we talk about having that belief in yourself. So now I'm going to stay here. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to prove to you that I can do it. But like I say, at the time, I having options. I didn't want to feel like that fear started creeping in of, I'm going to get forgotten about. If it don't work out now, am I going to be able to get back into a Super League team?
Yeah. Go
back and stuff like that. So that's when we ended up making a deal to leave at the end of the year, and I came back and signed with Cass. I had a 3-year deal at Cass. Shenny ended up getting, I'm sure he did his ACL in the pre-season game, which meant Jake Webster went and played on left all season. I played on right. I think I only missed 4 games. Again, through injury, I can remember we played Huddersfield and I landed awkward in a tackle, ended up getting a contusion on my kidney. It's a bit of a strange one. I've never had that happen since, but essentially a bit of bruising on my kidney. Went back, played rest of the year. And I was on holiday in Florida at the time. Eye on life. Agent texts me, gives a bell when you're free. I know you're on holiday. So I said, Cass are going to try and get rid of me. So what do you mean? So I'm telling you, Cass are going to get rid of me. Because at the time as well, I'd also heard the rumours that we were looking at trying to sign Zach Hardacre.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I'm telling you, they're going to try and get rid of me. So anyway, I pulled over to the side, rang him. And he wanted, they said they want to send you out on loan. Lee's come in and asked if you'll go on loan for a year. And I said, well, originally I said, tell them no, I'm going to say there's no reason for me to go. The excuse that they told me at the time was they didn't think I was going to be able to get game time. They wanted to have game time. To which my argument was, I've just played every game all year apart from 4 games. So they've gone back. I had conversations with the club. All any player ever wants, as much as they won't like it, is just a bit of honesty. And I never really got that honesty from them, even to this day. Whereas if they'd turned around and said, look, we've got an opportunity to sign Zach, previous Man of Steel, we've got a good opportunity to get him. We just need to shuffle cap around a little bit. They made it clear they still wanted me for the 3rd year. Said, so if they'd probably come out of that, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have been right happy about it, but you'd have had a better understanding and you'd have probably been more...
Easier to swallow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, to play the game.
Surely that's a bit difficult though, considering, like you say, you only miss 4 games.
Yeah.
So for you, you're thinking, I'm in here. Why? What's going? I've played all year, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which you would do.
And again, different factors come into it. So I knew Shenny had missed all that year. He was back fit for that following year. He's obviously going to go on to the left hand side. They still rated Jake over me, which were fine. So we weren't actually going to slip into it. Right, so it would have been an issue of me, when am I going to be able to get my opportunity to play? I know Jake was getting towards the back end of his career. He's getting a little bit older. I know that he couldn't play every single game all year. Am I waiting until he breaks down and misses a couple of weeks and then I try and force my way in and hold it?
Yeah.
Or do I take this opportunity just to play all year, prove what they're missing, and the year after that, it'll take care of itself. The club will get the player that they want. I look like I've done my part, keeps everybody happy. I'm still playing. I'm still playing at Super League, blah, blah, blah. So we made the move, which I enjoyed my time at Leeds, to be fair. It was good. It were a good crack. And then halfway through the season, obviously Cass are absolutely flying. Agent gets in touch saying, "Oh, look, Cass have been in touch. They're happy with the squad they got. They appreciate that you've gone on loan, blah, blah, blah. If you want, you can find a permanent place somewhere else because they're happy with the squad." So, all right, nice one. We'll see what's about. And I had a couple of offers.
Sorry, Ben. Where's your head space at this point? So you're on loan at Lee. You've just been told that you're going back to Cass. Where's your head space at here?
So now it's again. You're obviously going to have that initial down period. Like when I go back to fucking, I've just had this coming off at back of poured into my career. I've gone out to Australia, then that hasn't worked. Now I've come back to Cass, thought we're doing all right. Then now that hasn't worked.
Yeah.
How many? This is when we talk about how many times can you keep getting knocked down, and that's when you start going into that bit of a shadowy stage, that dark gloom. And this is why I always pull that thing out, the quote of "It's just another challenge." You can do it. You're still here. You still go in. People still want you. You're still a good player. Prove it. Go and prove it. Better than sulking. Go and do something about it. There's only ever two problems in life: one that you can fix and one that you can't. If you can fix it, what you worried for? Go and fix it. If you can't do it, if you can't fix it, what are you worried for? Because there's what you can do anyway.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of mentality where it's pointless worrying about it. You might as well either go and try and do what you can do, or you just got to let it ride because there's nothing you can do about it anyway. It's out of your control.
Yeah.
And this were a bit of a both scenarios. I can go and fix it. I can go and play well and get signed somewhere else because I'm in control. And at the same time, I can't control what Cass want to do. So that's on them. So we start with my agents having a look around, having a couple of discussions, seeing where we can go, get a couple of opportunities. I actually came close to signing for Saints, to which I'll again picked my form up or playing well, and Cass had then come back and said, we've had a bit of a change of heart. We want you to come back. So again, full circle moment. Right, no worries. Stick to his guns. Do what we said we were going to do. We'll go back, and that'll be that. So gone back. Obviously, told Saints, told the other clubs that we're going to be staying at Cass. Nothing on the table from say they just showed that they were interested to try and potentially talk and sort something out.
Joe, I do think I remember little rumours of that going on.
Yeah.
I know.
So, and again, that's all it was. It were just discussions. Nothing were set in concrete or anything. So we told them all we're going to be staying at Cass now. Never mind. Carried on playing pretty well, and then we played Cass at Lee. Pretty tough game, and I've ended up going in to make a tackle on Matt Cook. Tripped, and as I've tripped and I've gone down, I've ended up tackling right behind his knee. I got sin-binned. Cookie's gone off injured. He's gone for the scan. Ended up doing, I think he did his MCL. To which Cookie were in really good form that year. Like he was getting tipped to go play for England as well, which made me feel bad because he tried finding him after the game to apologise, although he wouldn't. There was no malicious intent in it. It was just a straight up accident.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the time that I'm at Lee, I live in Cass. Still, we're all going and seeing all the boys. And after that game, majority of the team and myself were all back at Nathan Massey's. He had a bar in back garden. We're going out for a few drinks, and we'd gone out that weekend. So everyone, obviously, I spoke to Cookie. Everyone were fine. A week later, agents back on phone. Cass have turned around saying that they don't want to keep you if you can do that to one of your own teammates. All the teams off you, blah blah blah. They don't want you to come back.
What?
Yeah,
Very two-faced, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So to me, there was obviously something else going off because, like I say, I've just spent the weekend with majority of the lads and nobody said anything. There were a couple of people cracking jokes just during Cookie's career. The poor bloke going to get for England, blah blah blah, having a laugh. But we were never any. They know my character. They know I won't intentionally do something like that to start with. So that again, we're back to square one. We're back in that dark hole of right now. What we're going to do. The only problem this time was we're obviously right in the back end of the season now, majority of clubs have done all the signing for the following year. So cap space is limited, so the options that were there before had all gone. And I was sort of left with only two. So it would either Lee wanted to sign me, regardless of if we were in the middle eights structure thing. Yeah. So we were second from bottom. We were second from bottom, and they had offered me a deal. They wanted to keep me, regardless if we stayed up or we went down. The other club that came in were Catalan, which sounds like a great prospect, and one that everyone says, "Oh, you'd be bad not to take." But at the time, they were bottom at table. We'd already beat them twice that year, and then we had a £1,000,000 game. So I was like, "What do I do now? What do I do now? Do I go do the obvious thing and go sign for Catalan and play in south of France?" But in my head, I'm like, "Well, we beat them twice. I'm playing against them now. I'm obviously going to try and win. I think we can win. I don't really want to play in champ just yet."
Yeah.
Quite enjoyed my time at Lee. I'd enjoyed all year, to be honest with you. Good set of lads. Good club with people like Derek, and he's very eccentric, has his own issues, but a pretty genuine bloke when you get to talk to him. Like, wears his out on his sleeve as what everybody's seen over his time at Super League. So committed to Lee. Again, injury crept in towards the back end. Just signed this deal. Did my syndesmosis on my other ankle, to what I did when I was at Hull. Rushed back to playing the middle eight section of the game. Had a bit of an issue with it, a bit sore. Played this game, ended up getting beat by Catalan. I'm sure it was by 2 points, something like that. I can't remember. It wasn't by a great margin. And by this point, it'd been around long enough where all the players knew what were happening after the game. So the Catalans lads had won. Not one person cheered. Like, they put their hands on their head just like we did, because we knew we were going down.
Yeah.
Straight away. I think that one of the games where the turning point will come in, thinking that we need to scrap £1,000,000 game, because people are realising that, like, you shouldn't really be celebrating the downfall of other people rather than
it's a lot of elements are in that, you know, when you think like people's wages, situations can change.
That's it. So we ended up getting beaten £1,000,000 game. I'd already signed my deal at Leeds, whether it were up or down. Ended up getting relegated with Lee, and probably one of the weirdest scenarios I'd been in with the day after. So we'd all gone out for drinks all week and gone out for Mad Monday, as you do. The day after Mad Monday, got a message in from one of the lads into the players group. "All right, lads, just had a phone call or a chat. I ain't going to be here next year." Because obviously a lot of contracts are void when you drop out of different competitions. I had a phone call, "I'm not going to be kept on, blah, blah, wish you all the best." 20 minutes later, another one comes in. 10 minutes later, another one comes in, and another one, and another one, and another one. And by the end of the day, there were 5 of us that had done the previous pre-season the year before that were left. And we ended up signing an entirely new squad for the following year. But again, a bit surreal, a bit strange.
I can imagine.
But it was going off the back of OKR got relegated. They went through, smacked everyone in Championship, and they came straight back up. So that was the mindset of, we're staying full time. We're going to build a team that we can, or the club's image, we're going to build a team that we think can go through, get the job done, and get straight back up. It's not going to be an issue. We ended up losing the first 5 games of the season, or first 4, and we were just like, "Well, what we're going to do here? This isn't how it's meant to work out." I ended up picking up a bit of momentum as the season went on. Started playing pretty well, beating everybody, and it came to the last game of the year. We were in a comfortable spot. We were just relying on, I'm sure it was Swinton or someone like that. We'd won. Final game, came in, all cheering. Got to dugout, and we'd found out that Swinton had won. And so everyone's just like, well, we haven't made top four. We've got this team, we haven't even made top four to go up, to even have a chance of going up. Switch came in, said, oh, we're not sure what's happening with club going forward. We anticipate it to go up. That's not going to happen. We aren't going to get the funding what we got.
Is this one of those things like where, you know, when you were saying about egos and stuff, like, is there a lot of egos in that team at that point where, because you've just come down from Super League and you haven't gone straight back up, is it a bit like, we shouldn't be here, we should be going up?
Potentially, yeah. And again, the squad that we had, we spent Super League salary cap, which they had done for the last couple of years at League. The players that we had ex-NRL players in, Peter Matautia, Bodine Thompson, trying to think of Kyle Lovett, can I remember his name? Short little ball, Papua New Guinea hooker. Left us, played for Sydney Roosters the year after. Joe Hutchinson made a career in NRL after he left League. You know, we had quality players playing. We shouldn't have been in that position. We should have been first and second, not finishing fifth.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, what's going to happen now? Because nobody expected that. Nobody knew what the future was going to be. So instantly, everyone's ringing their agents and things like that. And that's when I ended up making the jump over to OKR, which went from one surreal experience to another because we'd got the deal done on the day before we played the derby. So I got a phone call saying, yep, deal's done. Sheensy rang me. So it was Tim Sheensy, who was coach at the time. Said, now then, Ben, meet you at Village. We'll have your kit ready for you.
I remember this.
We're gonna.
I remember you and Craig all time.
Yeah, mate. Ollie had at least had the pleasure of going down and watching them do captain's run and got to meet some of them.
Yeah, true.
I had Sheensy ring me the evening before the game, saying, "Now, mate, you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing right centre. Ollie's going to be on your wing. Don't worry about any structure. Just carry the ball and make your tackles. I'll see you at Village at 12. All right, sound. See you. Cheers, Sheensy. I'll see you later, mate." Went to Village Hotel, went round, shook everybody's hand. Nice to meet you. I'm Crooksy. Went on, got on bus, went into change room, got my kit on, went out and played and beat them.
I bet that was a good reception though as well when he came out for that game.
Oh yeah, also absolutely peppered me from both sides.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Crooksy, but didn't Ollie score a couple of early tries, or was it you and one of you set each other up?
Ollie scored it all thanks to me.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
I made the tackle.
I
made the tackle,
mate.
dropped the ball, then I booted it 30 metres, chased it, kicked it back in field. Not because I got tackled that Ollie managed to get away and got length at field and score. But no, it were unbelievable. It were, again, one of them experiences that you'd never be able to replicate. Not seeing any players, not meeting them until the day of the game, going back to the club that had got rid of me and I grew up admiring, playing for a team that I'd grown up despising. And it was despising. You'll know the hatred for both sides. I don't think we have to go into that.
We could be here all night, Crooksy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it were unbelievable. It were absolutely unbelievable. And the fact they're absolutely slinging it down and ended up winning as well was cherry on top. A great start.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, there is some fan questions coming up, but like your current club I want to bring up for a second, Halifax. Being a Saints fan, you've had obviously the dual reg with Saints. I do want to ask about George Whitby. Like, what was he like to be around like a kid that young with that much?
Oh, mate,
unbelievable!
It was unbelievable from the first training session to have that much confidence of what he had, to be able to come in and talk in front of a load of blokes that he didn't know that were a lot older than him. A lot of people have a lot more experience than him, and to be able to tell people where he wants them, come this line, I'm coming here, and you don't get that a lot. You don't get, especially with young lads and young halfbacks. The maturity comes from being able to talk to people and not so much boss them around, but direct them with a tone and a manner of, all right, I'll do that for you, don't worry. Yeah. And he came from that first session and did that. And George has got nothing but the utmost respect from all of us at Fax for simply, when he got recalled to Saints after one or two games, he came down at the weekend and watched.
Yeah,
didn't need to.
I love that.
Nobody asked him to, and he came down. The game he didn't play, he came and watched. and he came and got it changing room with boys. And he didn't have to do. Nobody has to do that when you're on loan.
Yeah.
You're lucky, and this is what champ lads don't really like about the loan situation in Joel Reg is that you do get lads that come down, a little young lads, a bit arrogant. I'm only here because I can't get into the team, but I'm better than you a lot, sort of thing. And they don't really play that well because they're not buying into what you're trying to build.
Yeah.
All the lads that we got last year bought in straight away.
Yeah.
And they were involved in it. George, Connie, Dayon, Alfie Johnson from Warrington, all bought in, all chipped in. Leon as well, young middle, again, going out, putting the body online to help us with our cause. Got nothing but respect from us all. But George was a really special player. What he helped us do were unbelievable.
I just hope he can get his, he can shadow Hastings and get where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Just put it get polished. Yeah.
Yeah, and he will do, mate. That's all the little refinements that he'll need will just come with experience and exposure. I've got no doubt about that because the kid's class. He can read a game and he's got the confidence to be able to back it up as well. So you guys will be fine with him. Don't worry about that.
Well, Cal, you've got some... go on.
Yeah, moving on. We've got some quick fire questions from some fans. First one, Ben, comes from Chris Newlove. He asks, do you have any game day routine or superstitions?
I always put my socks on before my boots. That helps.
I thought you were saying you put your socks on before your undies.
No, mate. I'm really relaxed. Whether it's people ask you, oh, do you have a pre-match meal day before? Nice. Just try and stay as relaxed as I can. Treat it as any other game. I said this on the other podcast. Is that all lads look at me and they start panicking a little bit because they're all ready for warm up. I'm still sat there in my trackies. Like last year, I'd be going out and doing coin toss with a coffee in my hand, and I'm just still in my normal kit. I ain't even put my playing kit on yet. Refs are like, are you even playing? Yeah, I'll go get ready in a minute.
Yeah, you do get some players like that. They'll turn up like
old school.
An hour before.
If I could come out and do a couple of shoulder rolls and kick off, would be fine. I'd be happy with that. When I was at Rovers, I used to go and hide in physio room because we had, obviously, everyone's routines, like I say, is different. You get some blokes that, Bob Fairbanks, one of them, he'll go in, he'll get, as soon as he gets there, an hour and a half before, he's fully kitted up, got his strapping on, ready to go. You get blokes that don't want to talk to anybody, who just want to sit there with music, and that's what Josh Drinkwater was like. When he was at Rovers, he'd sit there with his headphones on. And I'd just be bouncing around like a knobhead, to be honest with you. Like, nice, relax, having a laugh with everyone. But again, you don't want to be selfish in the fact if that's what their routine is, you don't want to disrupt them because you want to get the best out of them.
Yeah.
Relaxing, I'm bubbling and bouncing around taking piss. I've got to then take myself somewhere out of that situation to where I'm not disrupting anyone. The only place I could go was physio room. So I used to go into physio room, sit with physios and doctors. I met everybody that called them soft every time they came in for something. Wait till they all got ready and then got strapped up and jabbed up myself.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bonesy would have helped you out at Rovers, mate.
Oh, mate, he looked after me like no end. He great lad, Bonesy, to be fair. He took some flack. He gets some work done. But it's people like him are the reason why Rovers are like they are. And it's, to be fair, it's why the sport is like it is. Because you've got them genuine people that just want the best for everyone and they want the best for the club. They do it off the back of not getting paid hardly anything, if anything at all. And they just want to see the team do well. So if people like Bones in, I've had all the clubs I've been at, you get them, everyone there, they all want to buy in. They all seem to be kit men. And I've always said this, whenever you go to a new club, 3 people you want to make mates with. Kit man, physio, and media man.
Yeah.
Media man so you don't have to do out. Kit man so you get an extra kit on top of everything else, and physio so you can get all the extra drugs afterwards so you feel all right.
That's one way of looking at it.
And that's why we love rugby league, isn't it, for people like Bones and other people that are in the community.
Genuine hard-working people that get you through it, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Question number 2 comes from Sean Biddington. He asks, which of the whole club did you enjoy your time at the most and why? And I think I know what you're going to say.
No,
so
I've had this question a lot, and there is genuinely two two separate answers to it because I've always spoke about SC were my dream club. I grew up my entire life watching my dad, watching my uncle play for him, the history and the heritage around it. That's all I wanted to do. We'll play at Wembley for Hull FC, and I managed to live that dream, and it was fantastic. Now, for a kid on the flip side who grew up hating Rovers and couldn't think of anything worse than playing for them, it was the best time we've ever had at any team. It was where I felt like we're home as a club, and you get that as a player. You get to certain places, and you don't want to leave. I didn't want to leave Rovers. I made it clear before I left, like I want to finish my career here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I absolutely love the place. I love the people, love the fans, the staff, the players, what we were building at the time. So it's a catch-22.
You'll have been growing up hating Rovers, but then at the time making your own decision of your own and going, do you know what? I'm playing for them. Actually, these aren't too bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then your belief is a bit different, isn't it?
To be fair, mate, as you start getting older and maturing in the position that I was in, obviously grew up as a fan, and you grow up as a kid hating them. I then had to sort of take that emotion and personality out of it, and you sort of have to see it as it's a job. It's a wage. And that one before I'd signed at Rovers, that was when I first had to leave Hull, and then it happened again at Parramatta. You start getting into your head that, well, the dream's not a fairy tale dream. It's a job. You're an employee. Your number's on a spreadsheet. As much as I love the sport and I love playing, and I've been so fortunate to be able to do what I do, it's a business.
Yeah.
There's people putting money in, they're expecting money out of it, and it's a business, and they've got to make the decisions to do whatever they need to do to make their living, just like we're going out and playing and making our living.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got bills to pay. For clubs like making an offer and you need to pay bills, you're going to go, aren't you?
That's it. And obviously the issue that happened at Lee, we're potentially not going to get paid. Where do I go? Oh, well, Rovers have come in. Yeah, all right. It'll be funny to see what happens with that rest of family voting off, but
yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to go. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've made in my career.
It's funny how it goes full circle, mate, isn't it? It's that's sport for you, and that's life. The third and final question from the supporters, Dean Walker. He asked, "Are there any individual highlights in your career that stick out so far?" I mean, for me, that try you scored was something like, was it 30 seconds or 7 seconds or something on the clock?
7 seconds. I got reminded.
I can't remember. I can't remember, mate. I've had a sleep since then.
No, it's just funny because obviously they were trying NRL this year, weren't they? They were tagging it for fastest, so that's when it all got brought back up. People were tagging me and sending me that 7 seconds against Huddersfield. It's a nice one to have because you feel like you're in the shorts, but it's not really one that people remind me more of it than what I remember it. To be honest with you, I was walking out at Wembley for all. I don't think, from what I've done in my career, there's a lot of things, but that's probably the standout moment and highlight. I had to put it as a thumbnail for my career. We're walking out at Wembley with my boyhood club. You know, it was something that I don't think could ever get touched. Trying to think of it for anything. My first try at Castle memorable, just on the basis that I never thought I was ever going to score. I think we got about 14 rounds in before I'd scored, and I ended up scoring against Leeds at Headingley.
Just about to say, but I think it was Leeds game.
Leeds at Headingley.
I was about to say, you've scored a few against Leeds, haven't you?
Yeah. So
different clubs.
That was more of an highlight just for comedy value, because like they were a joke going on, thinking I'm never going to score. They all started calling me John Wells. I was panicking.
There's nothing worse than being called John Wells.
But yeah, there's been games and big games that I've played in. The Warrington game when we beat them in the quarters for Rovers, like that sticks out because again that was another one where nobody expected us to win.
But only beats Warrington's all right by me.
Pure tenacity and team spirit that got us through that one. To be honest with you.
Yeah, well, wasn't it?
But
You've
they're the ones that make you remember them because of how you won them and the reasons why you won them. Like we didn't go through and blow anybody away that we should have done. You're playing in a game where everyone thinks you're going to get beat, and you're just playing for each other and playing for your mates, and you come out on top. Like there's a photo of me, Skidsy, and Abdul after the game. It's like me and him laughing, and Skidsy just like shaking his head at us. But that's what that game was. It was just a bunch of.
I wanted to ask a question, Ben. You know, when obviously you've scored a few in corner, the Rovers one. You dived in corner, I think. What's it like going in that moment? Like, because obviously you see a lot of fly airing tries sort of thing nowadays. Like, I don't even like. I've always wanted to ask the question of like, how do you back yourself and how do you actually like know this is because you get a lot of confident wingers these days as well. Like, how do you know the scoring?
Well, it's you've got to be in it 100%. To be fair, you can see the ones when people don't quite make it. They have a little bit of a hesitation of a set off, and it's. And I say this to any winger that's played outside me: is if I get you that ball and you've got a bit of space, don't look inside, spin your days back and go. You're going to be fast. If you get knocked into touch, you get knocked into touch. But if you start thinking you're going to get knocked into touch, you're definitely getting knocked into touch.
Yeah.
So it's for me when that year that I was on wing and I was playing, like I said, I managed to score a couple that were like that. Is the boys had full confidence in me. Like we'd come up in video, and the ones that I didn't take, they were like, "Why don't you go for that?"
Yeah.
I looked up and I saw a defender. So when the tackle count is, you don't want to then go and risk it and get knocked out and turn the ball over in different situations. Yeah. But Ryan Hall really helped me with this as well. And he was like, you aren't going to get that many chances in the game to be able to dictate which ones you take and which ones you don't.
Yeah.
We went 60 minutes once without an opportunity and we got one opportunity, we had to take it. And he's like, I will argue to anybody, we get in that position to score, that's our job. You've got an opportunity, whether it's 50-50, 40, 60, 70, 30, it don't matter. That's our job, is we're in them positions, we've got to try and score them. No matter what the percentage is, and if it don't come off, we'll defend it. But you don't know if you're going to get that opportunity to try and do it again. Smart's in it. If you're running down touchline and there's half a metre of space and it's third tackle, you're probably not going to try and go for it.
That's when to go for it, when to cut back inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say this. Obviously, as a Rhinos fan, the amount of times I'd kick myself when Tom Briscoe used to cut back inside and he did back himself at corner. And I know he did a lot for Hull FC. He did score a lot of good tries for Hull FC. And when he signed for Leeds, it's like he lost that confidence a bit and he kept quitting back inside.
But again, you look at the tries that Tommy scored.
Yeah.
But a diving winger, he's a big, dense lad. Like, still to this day, I don't think everybody's ever put him on his back. He shoves his ass out, and then that's it. You can't put him down. That's the sort of winger he is. Acrobatically fly through air and put ball down. He's either going to skin somebody to try line and dive, or he's going to do similar to what Orley does and try and bump him out of the way and score. And Tommy was just that sort of player where you'd be able to back him more to come back inside and try and bury him over rather than dive over. Whereas someone like me, I'm a lot more slighter than what he was. I can jump a little bit higher. I'm probably going to try and take that 50-50 chance and try and squeeze myself around or dive out. And because I'm long, I can dive in over the touchline and reach back in. Rather than, I know if I step back into three defenders, I'm going to end up knocking me into touch anyway. So I might as well.
It's like me. These are the sort of wingers I remember. You see, like you say yourself, Tommy Makinson, Regan Grace, people, wingers like this that back themselves and get in corner. Like say yourself did it as well. Like for me, that's your quality wingers. Back yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I get that, mate. But then the game's changing, and it always has done. So wing from when I first started to wing now. It's completely different. So I can remember people like Mark Calderwood on wing. Like as a big, tall, light thing, just good for scoring tries.
Yeah.
Now, wingers and outside backs do more carries out of yardage than what forwards do.
Right, all those loads, doesn't it?
Forward fresh. Yeah. He ain't going to be diving into the corner and doing Tommy Makinson dives anytime soon. He's going to try and run over somebody to score. Yeah. So it goes into what makeup of a team you've got. You're more than likely up. So Rovers have got a good balance now. They've got Tom Davis on one wing that's a big borrowing strong thing. You've got Joe Burgess, a big gangly rangy thing that can jump over everybody.
Yeah.
So if they've got a good balance, they can go one way or the other with it. And they've also got a kick target. So it's just depending on what the team's makeup is and how that coach wants them sort of playing to determine what sort of personnel you get in them sort of areas. And that goes throughout any position. So you look at, you move in one, I'll go back to people like Callum Watkins. I used to admire Callum Watkins because I thought he was unbelievable. I couldn't touch him. His work, his pace was unbelievable. And he was skillful. Whereas you look at Yemo, a lot shorter, didn't really have the footwork. He could run a really strong line and he was a great defender. So, it's just... And these, when we talk about people coming through and chasing you down, do you feel it's just play to your strengths? If you've got a strength, you've got to play to that and own that and make sure that nobody else is better than you at that. Defensively, to play with you, there were no better defensive centre than you, when you were playing. They were unbelievable. But at the same time, you had people like Callum Watkins and Leroy Cudjoe that were great big rangy thing with good feet, could carry ball in one hand and run around everybody. So it's not one boot fits all.
Yeah.
No.
So, and that's the same for all different positions that people don't realise sometimes.
Last two questions, Ben, because we've took up plenty of your time tonight, and we really appreciate that time you have given to us. So, your current club, Halifax Panthers. I mean, going into 26, what's your sort of personal goals and the goals of the club moving forward?
We'll win the lot.
I think you finished 5th last year, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, no, we didn't. The club's gone through a little bit over the transition in the last couple of years. I started to think I'm a bit of a bad omen on some clubs, to be honest with you. So we're flying before I came, and then when I got there, they started crumbling a little bit. But no, so we started the year with 19 players. Club obviously had financial issues that they were trying to sort out, and it were another one of them stories. Nobody really expected us to do anything, and we've come out. We started strong, winning 6 from 7 to start the year. And we were flying. We felt really confident. We then lost me, Brandon Douglas, a couple of us niggling injuries, and we're a small squad. It's hard to try and maintain that speed and that perseverance going through. And we managed to get a couple of good signings on loan. Like I say, the guys from Saints came and really helped us out. And we managed to build that momentum back up when we started getting bodies back in and finished strong end of the season. Ended up doing that job on Oldham that we did, and we genuinely went into that game at York with a belief that we're going to win. We're going to win the full thing here. We'd beat York once already in the league. We'd pushed them close a second time. We knew if we got through, we could beat Toulouse because we'd done that already this year. And unfortunately, we didn't string together the game that we wanted to, and that's what happens in finals rugby. You've got to be able to play the perfect game, and we didn't.
Yeah.
We went away from what we wanted to do. We didn't stick to our plan. What we did the week before against Oldham, we just got down, we just completely got into good areas, and we knew the opportunities would eventually open themselves up. We didn't go looking for them. Whereas that first 10, 15 minutes at York, we got into a good area and we went hunting, when we went looking for opportunities. We're trying to force plays that weren't there, and that's what was sort of our own undoing. And we ended up giving ourselves a bit too much of a hill to climb towards the back end. But that set us up strong for this year now, is that we know what we're capable of. Even with a small squad, we know what we can achieve. We've lost a few players, but we've brought some in. And it's just about building on top of what we did last year. And people throw that saying around, it's the what got you here won't keep you here sort of thing, or what got you there won't take you to the next one. You've got to keep improving and getting better, and that's what we're looking to do. And obviously the competition's changed a little bit. I'm not 100% sure on what's actually happening, to be quite honest.
Formats and whatnot, yeah.
So it's one of them. It's a bit of a free-for-all, but we're happy to take anybody on. We're looking forward to the challenge of trying to improve on last year and see what happens.
Credit to you, credit to everybody. Whether it's going to be single leagues or there's talks of a mixed championship / Division 1 in the type of thing. So whatever the RFL come with in terms of formats, I'm sure the likes of yourself and all the lads within them leagues will give us the best possible product moving forward. Last question for you, Ben, and a personal one. And some people don't talk about it, but I always love to mention it. Plans for yourself after life of rugby league is finished. What is is anything you've got in mind that you want to do, or you sort of training or getting qualified to go towards?
It's been a bit of a weird one, to be honest with you, mate. Because again, people going to be a big, long roundabout answer this, to be honest with you. Because the probably hardest part I've had to deal with is transitioning from full time to part time and going from a full time career to finding that will accommodate rugby. And I don't think people understand how difficult that actually is. So you've got guys that have been in the championship all their career. They've been working since they were kids. They've built a relationship with the bosses. They've built a relationship with the companies that they're working for. You then drop down from having a full career at Super League.
Yeah.
As a 30-year-old going out into a workplace that you've never been for, you've got no relationship with, going, I want a job. It needs to be around this much money. Or by the way, I can't do weekends. There might be 3 or 4 times in a year I've got to have Fridays off because I've got to travel abroad to go play it as well. If I get injured, I still want full pay. It's like, it doesn't happen. And that for me has been the hardest part of finding. That's why I've had a few different jobs. I've been a postie. I've done cover supervisor work in schools. I'm currently PTing in a gym, which I'm enjoying doing at the minute. So for me, I hadn't really. This is probably my next stage of my life and my career now, is finding something I want to go into long term and getting it done. I've done my level 2 coaching. I can start my level 3 this year. I had the thought of going into coaching. I got in touch with Rovers about potentially taking over their reserves last year, when Reece Lovegrove left, and going for that way, because I'd love to be a part of the reserve side and the younger boys and helping them with that transition into the full-time environment, because I think there is a big gap there that teams miss. And trying to be that chain between the two, that'd be an interesting avenue to try and go down if there were availability for that. But just one step at a time. It's just one challenge after another, and
that's it, isn't it?
So to be honest with you, mate, I haven't really answered your question there. I haven't really got too much in focus to what I want to do. I think that's probably the next stage of my.
Yeah, but it sounds like coaching is something you'd want to go into. Like, so that always on the table when you get the level 3 done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's that there, and then but the challenge always I have with myself at the minute is, as much as I love the game, I've given so much to it, body and time. Do I want to? Because you go into them sort of, even when you go into coaching, the sacrifices are still there for the time. I've got two young girls. I'd love to be able to take them away on holiday for a year rather than just going to the same places year after year in October when the season finishes. And people think it's a bit of a superficial thing, but when you've not been able to do it for so long, and you see people that jet off, like my wife gets upset that she can only go away once a year as a family in October. Like her friends go away in March, April, in kids' holidays, and going away and here, there, and everywhere. And it'd be nice to be able to do that, whether or not it's to a sunny holiday or just even away for a week somewhere. Them sort of sacrifices play on your mind, or do I want to do that for another 10, 15, 20 years? Or do I want to completely take myself out of it and enjoy the rugby from like yourselves, from a spectator point of view, and just enjoy watching the game and take myself out of it completely and go and live a normal life. So they're the questions I want to answer over the next year or two, because I can't see myself going on for too much longer. I don't think my body's going to handle it too much, and I don't think my mind and my sanity can handle it for much longer either, to be honest with you.
It always makes it easy when you know in yourself that it's time to hang the boots up, innit?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not quite ready just yet. But at the same time, I would like to go out on my own accord rather than my body saying unlucky.
Yeah.
Now you definitely can't do it, and I think that's any professional player's wish, is to go out on his own terms rather than being told that he can't do something, because then you have got that void in your head of, could I?
What if?
Could I have still done it if this hadn't happened? And whereas if you take your career out by your own hand, you know it were down to you. So.
No testament to you, like say the answering probably question of say what you want to do after rugby. I think because you're still in there now, and you still know you've got a job to do. I suppose your mindset's still in for next season, so you probably haven't got your mindset away from rugby, have you? Because you're still there. So
No, and that's it. And again, it's a little bit easier with it being part time because again, I'm not in and around it every single day from the moment I
Yeah.
wake up. Don't get me wrong, you've still got to think about it a little bit more when you come home. You've still got to take it away. You've still got to think about the upcoming week.
yeah,
But you've got a lot more that you've got to concentrate on throughout the day. So obviously, PT, I've got my own work to go through. My wife's going through it. I come home and get kids up from school, and then I go into rugby afterwards, rather than waking up right straight to rugby and then rugby following me all the way through the rest of the day into the next day that you have at full time. So it's good to have a little bit more time to think about it, a little bit, because that's another pressure that comes at full time is you don't really, unless you set up, you don't really have that time to think about it until you get into off season or you get unfortunately injured and you've got a bit of spare time because you're constantly in it. You're constantly trying to think about the following week and the next game and stuff like that. So I've got the luxury of I've got a bit more time to be able to think about what I do want to do.
I was just going to ask you that. Like, obviously, from a player point of view, like, obviously, it ain't easy going from full time to part time. Obviously, that initial situation obviously is a bit hard, isn't it? But do you know, because like you were talking there about potentially after rugby things you want to do,
Yeah,
because you're in that sort of part time element now. Surely it's a little bit easier. Like so you can pick your kids up from school. You've got a bit.
And I'm in a fortunate position that the work I do, I can get finished in time to go and do that. If you're fortunate enough to get the times where you can go and pick your kids up, like I've been fortunate with the jobs that I've had, I've been able to do that. Lads don't have that luxury. They work 9 to 5 and then they're straight to training.
No, exactly.
So, so I mean, whatever you decide to do post career, we wish you all the best with it as well as the season. Really appreciate your time, Ben. Thank you to our sponsor, Acorn Joinery Leeds. Keep liking, keep subscribing, and all that carry on. And remember, the podcast is by the fans for the fans. Crooksy, thanks very much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate the time. It's been really insightful.
No worries, fellas. Appreciate having me on.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. And we'll be back next week, guys. So we'll see you all later.